Hello everybody, it's Edwina from My Craft Orchard. So we're going to do something a bit different this week. We're going to do some coffee stained paper for junk journaling. This is me having a go at craft videos because as many of you already know I teach crafts and I sell craft items online. So this is sort of a experiment, shall we say, as to trying something a bit different and to show you guys what it is I do. So I've got plans for a crochet series and knitting and all of those sort of things. If there's a particular craft that you're interested in and you'd like me to cover, then let me know in the comments below. So let's have a go at doing some paper staining, shall we?
So what we have here is some just A4 paper or letter size, just copy paper from your printer, a couple of baking trays and some leftover coffee out of the coffee pot. Now what you can do is you can use instant coffee and make yourself a cheap coffee is fine. It doesn't have to be expensive. I like to use the leftover coffee though. And you can make yourself a cup or a jug of coffee for this. So I've poured a bit onto the tray and then I've put the piece of paper onto the top and I'm just pressing it down so the liquid sort of starts to soak through the paper, as you can see. Add a bit more coffee, give it a bit of a swizzle round and then add some more paper. Now what you can do is put the coffee into a spray bottle and spray the pages. I'm actually doing this one-handed and so everything is sort of a bit wobbly really. I'm camera one hand and I'm trying to do coffee with the other. So just continue. Now you can do as many pages as you like, however big your container is. So I'm just putting the rest of the coffee onto the top and I'm going to just swizz it around with my hands. The spray bottle means that you get a really even covering, but I always like to pour a little bit onto the very last page that I put in, just to make sure that there's enough liquid for the paper to soak up and that sort of thing. Give it a good swizzle round, get it good covering, and then what I will do is I'll leave that to soak for a few hours. I normally do this in the morning and then this afternoon or this evening when the kitchen's free I can then put it out to dry. So I leave it on the sink, so if there's any spillages then it's easy to wipe up. You tend to need to leave it in a fairly secure position. So come the end of the day or next day, depending on when you're going to be doing the drying, I've put a baking tray and I've put a cupcake tray out, and what I'm doing here is just draining off the coffee. I would normally leave this in the sink just upright to drain off for about 10 minutes, but for this video I didn't do that. I didn't have quite enough time, so the paper is actually coming out quite wet, and as you can see in a minute I have trouble separating it with one hand because as I say I'm holding the camera with the other. So what you do is you separate the pages out and then lay them out to dry. Now some people put them on a baking tray in the oven on a very low heat, or while they're cooking or something, and so you just leave it in the oven for a couple of minutes just to dry out, or to just get that first sort of drying session. I prefer to air dry mine and to leave them out overnight. So once you've got them apart, lay them one sheet, and I actually put mine onto a baking tray, a baking wire, which is like a cooling wire, and a cupcake, because the paper picks up slight imperfections off the metal. Not quite sure why, but it does, and it leaves like a texture or a mark on the paper, which I actually really like. There we go, I finally managed to get those apart. Again, if you use two hands and the paper's a bit drier, it's a lot easier to do this task. So finally got the paper apart. I finally got the paper apart and I'm just laying it out again. Don't, one-handed, not easy. Much quicker with two hands. There we go. I don't mind the little rips and tears in the paper because it just adds character to my junk journal. There you have it. So I'm going to leave that overnight or for a few hours to dry out, and then come back to it. So now the paper's dry, it's going to have a lovely crinkly sound to it. It's going to be, and as you can see there, that's actually picked like a bit of circle up off the cupcake tray. A bit of imperfection. I really like that. It gives character to my junk journals, and there's a few dots being picked up. Sometimes you can get lines as well, depending on what you've been doing with your tray. And I don't mind the little rips as well either, because again it gives character to my paper. Now what I will do with those is I'll put them between the two baking trays that I use, because I've dedicated those for this job, to flatten them out. Or if you've got a big book, or you could put them under the chair or the sofa, or anything really, just to give them a flatten out, and then they're ready to use.
So there you have it. You can use these sheets that you've just made for all sorts of things. I personally put them into the junk journals that you'll see in the next few videos. And yeah, just have fun. I just like the crinkly sound, really. So I will see you next time. If you enjoyed this, then give me a thumbs up. If you want to see more, then please subscribe. I really do appreciate everybody who does watch my videos, and thank you very much. And I'll see you next time.